AI 901 just launched and I am skipping it. And I'm going to talk about what I'm doing instead and why I'm interested in this topic at all. But first, who is this for? This is for people like me who are working with data, maybe a data analyst, data scientist, data engineer, and are thinking about what they should do about AI. And so it wouldn't apply to somebody who's just completely new to the field and just kind of wanting to get some general familiarity. This is for people who, are already using AI in their daily work, maybe with large language models, maybe with MCPs, maybe using Cursor. It's going to depend on either your particular company or, the projects you're doing. Instead of a quick win that's not really a win at all by doing AI 901, go on to AI 103 because that's really going to build your understanding and even give you a taste of how to actually use Azure AI Foundry. And so the reason I'm looking at this at all is that I'm thinking about this saying, right? AI isn't going to replace data analysts, but data analysts who don't know how to use AI are going to be replaced by data analysts who do. That's a really popular thing to say. It's maybe reassuring, but I think it's wrong for at least two reasons, right? The first reason is that when we talk about knowing AI, that can mean completely different things depending on who's talking about it. Like the first level is basically using AI like it's Google. You put in your SQL query or a screenshot of your Power BI dashboard or whatever you're working on and ask for some technical guidance, right? Basically using it like Google. And I don't think that really counts as anything you could put on your resume as a skill because it's not really a skill. It's just what everybody does, right? So that's the first level. The next level would be where you're using AI maybe in Cursor or in VS Code, right? Cursor is really just a fork of VS Code. And so you're using agents to actually run analysis, not just to write the SQL, but to run the SQL and then look at the output, right? So if you have like an IDE like VS Code or Cursor and you're running things there, that would be like sort of agentic data analytics, right? So that's the second level, right? Level 2. Level 3 would be where you're using, you're doing AI orchestration, you're doing governed AI models, you're doing RAG, you're building the systems, right? Maybe you're building a system that has multiple agents that are orchestrated where there's one doing the research, another doing the analysis, and then a third doing the visualization, and you're putting those three together. Maybe you're doing something that's reading a bunch of internal documents and presenting that to end user who's on a phone call so that they know what to say, right? Those would be the higher level tasks, and that's beyond where I'm at now, and that's why I'm interested in AI 103. So that's the first thing is when we say knowing AI, we have to distinguish between level 1, knowing how to use AI like it's Google, level 2, using it in a sort of agentic IDE environment, level 3, actually building orchestrated, governed, token managed AI systems, right? Those are three completely different levels. Level 3 might actually automate away the jobs of level 1 because instead of having someone use AI like it's Google, you're actually building a system that will go and do that work that analyst was doing before. Instead of that person pulling a bunch of SQL and then running a report and doing some insights about what changed this month compared to last month or this year compared to last year, you're actually running a bunch of agents together that are doing that on a continual basis and producing a report for senior leadership, right? Or producing a dashboard or both. That's level 3. So that's the first objection. Data analysts will replace those who don't know how to use AI, will be replaced by those who do, right? This kind of convenient thing to say. The second point is that when there's a huge shift in efficiency, we don't necessarily know how it's going to play out for employment, right? So I think about spreadsheets. Spreadsheets used to be literally pieces of paper, and that was replaced first by like Lotus and then by Excel, right? And so that didn't decrease the number of people doing sort of spreadsheet work, right? Actually, now we have way more people doing financial modeling than we ever had back in the days of paper spreadsheets, right? So that was a case where a new technology actually increased employment in that sector. But then we have manufacturing. Look at what has happened with American manufacturing. You might not realize, but we actually manufacture more stuff now in America than we ever do, but we just did before, but we just do it with way fewer workers, right? So that means that actually we can produce more with fewer. And so the same could, I think, very well happen with AI, where fewer analysts, fewer data scientists are producing way more work because now we have agents doing the work. I don't think we can rule out that future possibility. So what I can say though is, although we can't rule that out, it's not necessarily going to happen, but we can't rule it out. But we can say that the higher up on that skills chain we get, the better position we're in. And so that's where AI 103 comes in, because AI 103 covers Azure Foundry. It covers building agentic orchestration with RAG, with governance, with tokens, with token management, right? With testing. That's the whole end-to-end of building productionalized AI solutions. And so that's what I'm interested in, that going from that level 2 to that level 3, where you're actually able to build enterprise-grade AI systems. So now let me talk a little bit about Azure versus AWS or Google Cloud. Really, that comes down to what types of companies are you interested in working for, right? And so AWS is much more focused on the small tech focused startup type companies, whereas Azure is more for enterprise grade, governed company. And so given my career, I think it makes more sense for me in particular to go with Azure. If you're planning to work for a startup, maybe AWS would work for you. I suspect the learning curve with Azure with Foundry will now be a little smoother than it would be with AWS. I've compared it to sort of like a workbench versus a bunch of tools, right? AWS gives you a whole bunch of tools and you have to figure out how to put them together. Azure kind of gives you that workbench and you can kind of see what all the pieces are that you should use kind of from that. It's packaging them in a nice form for you to use them all together. So my thought is I'm going to go with Azure. I'm going to go with AI 103. So my plan right now, right, is to go through the Microsoft Learn curriculum, which includes sandboxes to actually, use Azure AI Foundry. Hopefully in the next couple of months, go through the whole thing. I've just started with the text training and the quizzes. I haven't gone into the sandboxes yet. So I'm going to go through the whole training, take the quizzes, and then start working through the sandboxes. And I'm going to come back and document how that's going, what I'm learning, and then I'm going to earn the certification. And then as soon as I get that certification, I'm going to start building projects with AI Foundry, see what I can actually do that would be similar to what a person might do on the job. So I think that this is what I need to do to prepare for the AI revolution, to sort of capitalize on it. I feel like I'm a little bit behind, but AI 103 did just come out. It's currently in beta, so I think it's the right time. So if you are thinking about the same thing, drop a comment below. Let me hear about your plan to advance your career, to kind of capitalize on all of the changes going on now with AI.